continues to plague Madison Lakes. A UW researcher we spoke to today says visually these are some of the worst blooms in decades, and it's hard to quantify if the magnitude of the blooms is actually worse. He says the algae blooms likely won't be going away anytime soon without working toward a fix.
Everybody needs clean water. It's necessary for life.
So we have a full-scale drinking water public health crisis in Wisconsin.
Our water here has been equated to that of a third world country, and it's because they're finding salmonella, rotavirus, campylobacter, E. coli, Giardia.
If you drink or use nitrates or water with a high level of nitrates, many things can happen, especially for women that are pregnant or trying to become pregnant, or for small children. It's called blue baby syndrome. It essentially doesn't allow the blood to absorb the oxygen. Many other health effects go along with nitrate, high levels of nitrate, neurological damage, and things like that if you drink it for long periods of time.
What do pollinators do? They go around in the environment and they gather up nectar and pollen, they take it back to their hive, and if it's no good, their hives don't survive. Well, essentially, people do the same thing. We go around, we collect food, water, and sustenance from the environment, and if it's contaminated, what happens to us? Well, we already see that. We have the highest rates of cancer we've ever had.
This waterway here is a 10-mile creek. It's a Class 1 trout stream, and it goes all the way up to the fields that we just watched being irrigated with manure, and then this goes all the way through Saratoga and eventually dumps into the Wisconsin River.
This area where they're spreading manure on thousands and thousands of acres has very shallow depth to bedrock, shallow topsoils. A lot of people talk about karst topography. That's definitely present in our area.
Now, it isn't like your typical farm. Most people see the red barn and they see the cows in the field. That's not what a concentrated animal feeding operation, or CAFO, is. In this case, the cows sit all day long on cement in big, huge barns that hold probably 1,000 cows apiece. They walk back and forth to the milking parlor, and that's it. They don't ever get outside, they don't ever graze in the sun or go in the grass. They're in a confined area their entire life.
If we don't stop it, it's going to be in your water. You know, the city of Green Bay gets their water from Lake Michigan. Our water that's contaminated flows into Lake Michigan. They eventually will be drinking our problem. It's up to them to understand that. The same thing with Milwaukee. The same thing with Madison. Eventually, these aquifers are all going to be contaminated if we don't change our practices.